Assalamu alaikum. As the press, it is our duty to inform the masses about the changes happening in the world around them. Sometimes a small change can go a long way, and we believe in the power of our voice to inform, educate, and make a real difference. I'm Zaishan Ahmed, and this is the Fourth Estate. Tonight, we meet the Maldives Library Association, which was formed in 1987 and operates with the mantra Meet, Learn, Acquire. To discuss the association's work and recent developments in library services offered here in the Maldives, joining me are President of MLA and Director of Collection Management and Services at the National Library, Mahasin Ahmed Didi, and a council member at MLA, Aishat Shabana. Welcome to the show. To start off, can you tell us about the mandate of the Maldives Library Association?
The mandate of the Maldives Library Association is actually advocating to the LIS or Library and Information Sector professionals and also to the information sector. Yeah, and we include the existing and also the current and future library professionals in this. And also one of the other mandate would be to establish a library network throughout the nation.
Now, some interesting work that you do at MLA. How did this association come to be formed?
Actually, the association was formed in 1987 by two founding members, and they are Annabila Habiba Hussein Habib and Zulfa Muhammad. And with the help of an overseas consultant, her name was Janet Fleming. And this was the time where library people didn't know what a national library was, and the concept wasn't introduced to the Maldives. So their aim was to establish an association in order to train and develop the library area in the Maldives.
Now, what are your main activities that you do at MLA?
Well, some of our main activities would be to promote the libraries and the library staff through MLA training workshop series and lectures. We also provide consultancy services to set up libraries all throughout the nation, Malay and in the island libraries. And we also established digital library networks. That's one of the recent development, is that we have established a digital library network where we are trying to digitize some of the local publications and some of the local contents, and so that everyone in the country from anywhere who has an internet connection will be able to actually connect. One of the recent developments would be that we have established and we are maintaining a digital library network which actually digitizes the local content and local publication of Maldives, and we are able to, with this network, we are able to actually provide this service to throughout the nation, and those who have an internet connection would actually be able to access this network. And also included in this network is the Koha library network, where we are trying to establish a union catalog throughout this, so that all the, for example, let's say school libraries who have a catalog will be included in this network, which means the rest of the network members will be able to see which books are in this library and which books are not. So this is just the beginning. So we are hoping this actually goes on for a long time, and we are able to cover the entire Maldivian libraries, may it be school libraries or public library or private libraries or even national library and so on. And something exciting that we have planned for this year is the MLA Librarians Boat Tour. That is something that we are experimenting actually new this year. And we are hoping that a lot of librarians or library staff who are working in this profession will actually be able to join us and then go on this tour. And this is at the planning stage still, so we will be soon advertising it around throughout the networks. And we will be inviting people to come join us so that we can do this tour together. And the other program is the MLA WILD program. WILD program is the workshop on island library development. This is also something that we started, was it last year?
Last year.
Last year. So it is something we started last year, and under this program we actually try to develop island libraries. We go over to them and we give them the needed necessary training. So this is just a program focused on island libraries, not just Male, but the islands.
What is the response like from the public?
Actually, the main aim of this WILD program is to kick off the librarians who aren't able to do any library work at the moment. Actually, in many libraries, they have not done any work, any library basic work in those libraries. So this is just to help them to start, for example, like accessioning, cataloging, at least on Microsoft Excel or somewhere, so that they may be able to find the resource they need in maybe a short while or quickly.
Now, Mahasin, you also serve as the director at the National Library of Maldives. Tell us about the role of the National Library.
Actually, the role of a national library is to maintain the national collection. Actually, in our national library, for example, what we call as the Gaumi Kutubkhana, there are two types of libraries. That's the National Library and the public library. The role of the National Library is to, as I said before, to maintain and preserve the national collection. And the role of the public library is to provide service to the public, like that's the lending part of the library, like lending books, displaying and doing those sort of things. It's the public part of the library.
Now, as you mentioned, the National Library is supposed to host a national collection. Now, can you tell us more about the importance of a national library to a country?
In many countries of the world, they have a national library. I think in this region, in the South Asian region, Maldives is the only country which doesn't have a iconic national library building. So I think it's really important to have a national library to preserve our national collection for the future generations.
Now, does the public have any misconceptions with regard to the role of the National Library?
Yes, the public does have misconceptions. As we can see, the National Library at the moment is one with two entities. So even the public actually don't have any idea what a National Library is, what a public library is. So yes, the public actually does have a lot of misconceptions about the national role of the National Library, because as soon as they say National Library, people think that the National Library is a place where they get books. Not that, but people don't think that okay, a National Library is where they preserve the book, where you go there and find really old local publications published, and it is a prestigious building where people will go and not actually want to borrow them and take them home, but also want to keep them there and just preserve because it's part of themselves. So yes, the public does have a lot of misconceptions about the role.
And I also think one reason is that the public really doesn't have seen a real national library or real public library in the Maldives. And if they really have seen a library in the Maldives, I think we have only one library at the moment, one library building, that's the Maldives National University Library. And like if they really have seen a library, a national or public library, they would know how you feel when you enter a national library. It's very different here. At the moment, our national library is in a building which is designed for the museum, for the museum laboratory. So when you enter the building, you don't really get the feel of a library, because there are so many small rooms in there, and the tables are too close to each other, the shelves like doesn't have proper distance between them, so you don't really see the library there.
And also one of the roles of the National Library should be also to be the touristic hub of the country. Maldives is about tourism.
Correct.
Yes. So how many of us actually think in that angle? You know, like as soon as a tourist come into the country, or let's say come into Male, visit Male, the first place they should actually look for is a library, is the library. And right now we don't have the library that gives us and them an easy access towards this information, because library is supposed to be a democratic institution where people get free information, right? So right now we don't have that at the moment.
So I gather that there is a lack of public appreciation of the prestige that a library should hold as a public institution, and more importantly, the National Library being a national institution.
I also think the government really doesn't have this appreciation, because I mean, in the government also it's the public working there, so it's very difficult for the National Library to run as it is now, because everything has to be settled at the policy level for us to run the National Library at the lower level.
So given that these misconceptions are present and that there is a twisted image of public conception as far as the National Library is concerned, what other challenges are there to the development of library services here in the Maldives?
Well, one of the biggest challenge right now would be lack of trained professionals in this field. Professionals who would work at policy level, who would work in the National Library, national level, and also at school level, academic level, research level. So we don't have library and information science professionals, enough professionals at the moment. That is one of the challenging factors. And also we don't have an avenue for higher education. At the moment, Maldives National University conducts a certificate course and a diploma level course. But what about if somebody wants to go higher than that, like a degree level, or also specialize in, let's say, school librarianship, or a research librarian, or a reference librarian? So we don't have this kind of opportunities at the moment in the country. And also it is not included as a needed profession in the country's most needed lists, priority list for scholarships and things like that. So that is one of the biggest challenges, and also lack of recognition as a profession. This profession has been here in the country for over 60 years, and still there is a lack of recognition. People do not accept this as a accepted profession. So if you ask a school leaver right now, would you go into library profession, they would say, okay, what are the development or like opportunities for me there? People wouldn't even know if it is a profession that they can go forward and actually study for a degree in this. I myself is one of them, because I did not believe that I could actually study up to a degree level in this field. I had people ask me, why are you in a library? Like, why do you want to sit there behind a desk, put covers on books, and but then again, I thought it was something that was needed for the country. So how many young people would actually think like that? So that is the lack of recognition as a profession that we're talking about. How many parents would want their children to become librarians? Like, how many would understand? So those are the kind of challenges that we have right now. And even running the association, we actually have trouble getting people to come to us, even ask for help. But it's getting better now that I think we are making an impression slowly, it's getting better, but it's not going as fast as we want it to be for the country's development also. So those are the kind of challenges that we have. Also, I would say, let's see, the geographic dispersion of the country is one of the biggest challenges, because we cannot help each other, we cannot ask for help because we live too far away and we don't know who and who are who. Yeah, so that's one of the biggest challenges, I think.
Would you like to add to that?
I also agree with what Shaba said, and the other challenge for us now is to get a digital library on there. And as Shaba said earlier, we have already started in 2011 with a project with Ministry of Education, NCIT, National Library and Maldives Library Association. So Maldives Library Association, I think we coordinated the whole project, and we installed Koha and digital library in about 20 libraries. And the problem we faced there was because lot of librarians, they didn't have proper library training. As Shaba said just now, they didn't have the training. If there was a little problem also, they didn't know how to solve the problem.
So with the digital library project, actually, apart from the library staff being trained, the IT infrastructure in these libraries were also a big challenge, because some of the libraries didn't even have computers. Some didn't have internet connection, and so the library staff and sometimes the library staff and the library IT technician would be the same person, which would be very easy at some point, but sometimes they don't have enough human resource to man the library or to actually correct these minor, small, little glitches that occur in the digital library. So we actually need IT support plus the people actually trained in the field of library and information science actually to continue with this. So even if we establish a digital library, because we want to go forward with what the world is going forward with and establish digital libraries, it is a big challenge for us if there are no people to actually, trained people to actually man these posts. And also another challenge would be to retain these trained staff. How long can we retain them in the same profession or in the same post doing the same thing, just long enough to actually for this project to survive? Because we have seen throughout this project, we have actually seen several people go by that post, and the information doesn't get passed, the knowledge is not passed down from one to the other. So every single time there's a new staff, we have to train them, right? So that is a big challenge.
Now, earlier you mentioned that there is a lack of government appreciation of the prestige of the National Library. Now, moving back to the subject of MLA, are government authorities cooperative with the work of MLA?
I think so, because we have a very good relationship with Ministry of Education. At the moment, Ministry of Education is also trying to get e-library to many schools in the islands. And we also do have a very good relationship with NIE, National Institute of Education, NCIT and the National Library.
I have some information about some work you did at the National Library recently. There was a 5-day workshop on essential skills for new age information professionals, which included many sessions on information literacy. Now, what is this term, information literacy?
Information literacy means it's to retrieve, analyze and use information. So if you are an information literate person, you should know how to retrieve, analyze and use information. So we had some resource people from National Institute of Library and Information Sciences of Colombo University to run this workshop. And the thing that we identified was, even if we train the librarian, we won't get the full effect. We need to train the teachers, we need to train the teachers and also put this into the curriculum so that it goes to the children. Even if we train the librarian, it won't really give us a 100% result with that.
Yeah, so with the information literacy, let's say we can actually ask how many of our students, who finish their high school studies up to grade 10, does actually come out of school with the necessary skill set that they are supposed to have by the end of. So yes, information literacy is a very important skill that would enable them to actually find the right information at the right time for the right situation. Yeah, so yes, that's what we mean by information literacy. Right?
Now, are you satisfied with the level of information literacy skills displayed by local students? Now we have a lot of students who are finishing school, they're coming out of high school and they're going out into the job arena to find jobs and get employment. Do you find satisfaction in their level of information literacy?
Not really. I do meet a lot of students who actually would have finished high school and then go into high school, senior high school, and then go into university level. I have seen these students and their capability in information search strategies. It's not a good picture. At the moment, it's not a good picture, I would say. Because some of them, not all, but some of them, most of them actually, do not have the necessary skill set at the moment.
We're in conversation with the Maldives Library Association. We'll now take a short break and return in a few minutes.
Neutro Special Crackers est a bike itbar hoda pave.
Varam
Neutro Special Crackers ki packet gagin adada ka biskode kuleve agiya meeru biskode.
Varak kamada biskode.
Binda binda kala Neutro Special Crackers. Lonomed tomato mirhuge avapi jassa.
Miru King garlic chili sauce.
Mirko furihamako kaleveni miso surige.
Miru King tomato sauce.
Kumbeko me sauce kamaknude. Hamarangali.
Miru King chili sauce.
Sauce veggia rahe besunje.
Miru King fried chicken chili sauce. Enjoy the great taste.
King tomato sauce.
Tom Garden, imported and marketed by Miami Traders. Phone 331-8850.
Sena, ඔබ සෙල්තනේ මොනීත?
අද කොන්සේල් මිහාරුස් රටුවේ උඟ බරි 1000 රුපියල් වෙපාරි 600 රුපියල් කොල්ලේ.
1000 සුෆියා වේ ෆාඩි රෙඩ් වේ කොමෙන්ට් එකක් දියස් ආහෙක බදලක හැස්ටැග් රුෆේ වානතති කියන
මරියම්බා රෙඩුවේ හුඟ පුණලි එමි හුඟ කාවුගා එම්එම්එස් විකානම තකතිග ගබඩුවකින් එකක් කොස්නුවේ
එදෙන් හම සතේකග වා
හාස් රුෆියාගේ ව්‍යාපාරි හැස් සතේක රුෆියන් කොල්ලුම රෙඩ් වේව් මජීදි මග
රෙඩ් වේ මාට් රෝෂනි
රෙඩ් වේව් ප්ලාසා සයිද් කුවෙක් ෆාන් මග ආදී රෙඩ් වේව් මෝල් මජීදි මග වඩා තිබාග ජීවත් සින්ස්තේක රුෆියා ජමා කොල්ලා
ද
baby like anekka salivich 1 2 3 4 piece free we do we wouldn't baby like it but well case one case free tutu therefore go for la hingama jehuma baby like pena korama
tirag postpaid nangava adi I like Singapore ga ufarid chuttiyeng heda kolumge fursat hodava hatar befrunang hatar doge hurum adi Singapore ge mashhur tantam balwa levuma tuata ge terega night safari river cruise gardens by the bay adi universal studio balwa levumge fursat tirag postpaid nangawage Singapore ga chuttiyeng heda kollava
Effects, the mental energizer.
And England need to find a goalkeeper from somewhere. Look at that! He's only waiting for them! New hero! Extraordinary!
ವರ ಬಲಾಗೆ ವಿಷ್ಣುತರಿಕಮಾಯಕು ಹುವಾಲೆವೆ ಮಿಸಾಫತಕಿ ಶ್ರೀಲಂಕಾಗೆ ಫರ್ಬದ ಮತೀಗ ಬಂದು ಕೊರೆವೆ ಮೀರ್ ಸಾಫತೆ ತಾಜಾ ಕಂಕೆಲ್ಲುವಾನುಲ ವರ ಬಲಾಗೆ ಬಂದು ಕುರುಗೆ ಸಬುಂ ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ಮೀಹಕವೆಸ್ ಅಕ್ಬರ್ ಸಾ ಮೀರುವೆ ಅಕ್ಬರ್ಗಾ ಎವಾ ರೈಟ್ ಕುಲಾಗೆ ಅಸ್ಲಕಿ ಮಿಸಾ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಕೋ ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಕೋ ಉಪೆತ್ತುಮಕ್ ಕುರುವೆ ಮಸಕ್ಕತುಗೆ ನತೀಜಾ ಅಕ್ಬರ್ ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಅದಿ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಮೀರ್ ಸಾ
Welcome back. You're watching The Fourth Estate with me, Zaishina. Now, we were talking about information literacy skills here in the Maldives. Now, do we have a national framework for information literacy skills here in the Maldives? Or what is being done to promote information literacy in our society?
Well, actually, at the moment, we are not aware of any formal information literacy frameworks in the country. And maybe this is one reason why students are not competent in information literacy skills by the time they come out of school, because these information literacy skills needs to be incorporated into their curriculums, into their school programs. A lot of times we find that students do project work and stuff at school, but mostly they will be advised, I think, to search internet. Just go on internet, get some information and just put it on paper. But what we really need is to teach these students to learn these skills, and right now I'm not sure if we have any information literacy framework, a formal information literacy framework in the country. And I hope that in the future Minister of Education would actually take an initiative in actually trying to come up with, maybe work with us to promote and come up with the information literacy framework.
What about the reading culture here in the Maldives? Do we have a strong readership in this country?
Do we? Well, actually, we don't have a strong reading culture because but then again, that depends on how we read these days. Sometimes it can be argued actually that people have mobile phones, iPhones and all these digital devices where we can actually read things, or the way we mean reading might be different, because are we reading for information or are we reading for entertainment? Reading a newspaper can also be reading a magazine for entertainment can also be reading, so that depends. Reading a status on Facebook can also be reading, so that depends actually. But for formal reading style, like the traditional reading style, I think people like the trend, the reading culture is not there at the moment. And with the digital devices, what happens is we have a lack of local publications which is available to all generations. It is coming up, but not catered to all generations. Let's say generations above 50 years and above or 60 years and above, they would also like to read, but if the digital content is becoming higher and the published content is becoming lower, like lesser and lesser, we will find that people do not read as much as they used to because of lack of access to this material. So actually right now I think the reading culture is going down rather than increasing. It is decreasing, I would say.
What can we do to remedy the situation?
We are already in the digital age, so what we can do is we can actually start promoting, as a nation we can promote digital publication in local language, where there are like sites like books.mv where they are trying to promote this kind of programs or this kind of digital libraries, and in MLA also we are trying to establish digital libraries, but which is not enough. Writers, authors, they need to put their material online, as well as we need to encourage more Maldivians to actually do research, publish their content on on a platform where everyone can access these things. Because right now material might be there online, people do not know where to find them because there is no common platform where we can share this information.
Now, can you tell us about the legal deposit law here in the Maldives? I believe that every country has a law regarding legal deposit, and since you work at the National Library, you must be knowing about this. Can you tell us more about this?
Actually, the legal deposit law was passed in 2006, and I would say that's very recent actually. And since then, we have been receiving publications, like 2 copies from a lot of publishers, but I would say we haven't received enough, and there still we need to make the publishers aware of this important task that they have to do. Actually, if they deposit like 2 books to the National Library, they are keeping like the books there forever. So it would be there for the coming generations as well, for future reference or later. So it's really important for them to be aware of this, the legal deposit law.
Now, in this country, we have local schools where some of the schools have local libraries as well. And the libraries are stocked with various genres of books for students and children, even teachers. Now, what do you think about the level of priority given by local school managements to their local school libraries?
I would say very low. The priority given is very low actually, because like we talked about before, it is about the conception of misconceptions regarding the libraries. Library is not considered as the hub or the heart of the school, and there are no trained people in the library, which also shows that the priority in the priority list library is like at a very lower stage. Yeah, so the priority given is very low, and if there needs to be a budget cut, I think that would come also from the budget for the books probably. So otherwise we would see more developed libraries with computers or digital libraries and trained staff. By training, I mean schools do not need just staff, they need teachers, the staff should have qualities like teachers as well as the teacher. if the school need good quality teachers, why can't the library also have a good quality teacher librarian? Why not? Because they cater to the same students as the teachers do in the classroom. So I would say libraries are not given enough priority at the moment. But if the libraries are given enough priority and all the libraries have trained library staff who also have a teacher librarian qualification, then the information literacy level of the students, of the children who come out of the school will be high. The success rate, their educational success rate would be higher, and let's say the standard of their readership would actually increase, and that would actually filter out of the school into their homes and empower their siblings and their parents and their grandparents. So I would say right now I believe Education Ministry is trying right now to actually develop the conditions of the school libraries at the moment, as far as we know, and the information we get. We are aware of the fact that Education Ministry is trying to work this out, and we hope that it continues and actually get a good libraries for the schools, because this is linked to their success, to the children's success actually.
Now, the library is linked to the traditional idea of reading books, as in reading hard copies and scanning it, skimming it, extracting information, writing on a piece of paper. But we live in a digital age, as we all know, and technology is advancing, and e-books are becoming more important every day. Now, do you believe this poses a threat to the existence of libraries?
I really don't think it's a threat to the library. I think it's an advantage, or it's a development to the libraries. Because in the libraries also we can use e-books, e-journals, and all types of this electronic stuff in the libraries. So I really don't think that's a disadvantage to it.
And also the libraries are where this information gets organized. Even if it comes in a digital form, there is a librarian behind this digital format providing metadata, organizing that information, and providing access to this information. It is the librarians most of the time who give the necessary skills for the people to actually go and search for this book online, and like you say, look inside the book online. And so I don't think it's a threat. I think it's an added advantage. So the libraries will still be there, because other people talk about this is a topic that is ongoing at the moment, libraries versus digital content, digital books. But it's not really a threat. It's like Maha said, it's an added advantage.
Let's say we have an individual who wants to get into the librarian's profession. What career pathways would that child or would that person find here in the Maldives to progress in this field?
Last year, the Maldives Library Association created a Librarian Information Professionals Career Pathway, and it has been submitted to the Civil Service Commission through Ministry of Youth and Sports. And the aim of this career pathway is to give librarians a way to go ahead in this area. For example, at the moment, a lot of island librarians, they are just stuck there. They don't have a way to go above or forward in this level. So I hope when they approve or when they endorse this career pathway, there will be more librarians and the opportunities would be more.
So how can we further develop the level of library services offered in this country? How can we make sure that librarians know what they are doing despite the changing needs of time?
Provide training. Of course, provide the necessary education for the library professionals to move forward. Because even if there's a career path, if there is no venues where they can do higher studies, there's no use. Yeah, because people cannot move forward without higher education. So I believe by providing them opportunities to actually study higher and specialize in certain fields within this sector, because library and information sector is not about librarians, it's also about managing information, organizing information, and archives, museums, records, all these things comes under information. So libraries is just one area. So your question was?
What can we do to develop the library services?
Yeah. So yes, show priority, funding, and also networking and education would be some of the areas that we need to touch to actually develop this.
Now, what appears so simple on the outside, the profession of a librarian, is indeed very complex and sophisticated behind the curtain. Now, what would be your vision for Maldivian librarian services?
My vision for the Maldivian libraries would be actually to, given the dispersion of our geographic locations, would be to create a union catalog where everyone can actually share their information, and also maybe like not be limited to physical space. Maybe we can have something like a floating library, where the library can go to the people, whereas people don't have to come to the library, but the library can go to these people. We understand that not every island cannot have a library, a public library.
True.
But if we can have a public library that can go to the people, that will be fantastic.
Okay, now as a final question, what would be your message to the public?
Well, our message to the public would be for the parents to encourage their children to read in the first place. It starts from home. It starts from a very infant stage. So parents to encourage their children at home to read, and then the teachers to encourage and educate the students to actually use these information literacy skills so that they can be information literate by the time they finish their high school. And you want to add anything?
Actually, my message is to the government. I would like to ask the government to give their full cooperation for the Maldives to establish a an iconic national library in the Maldives.
And also I would like to add to that the policy makers to actually concentrate on making policies that would encourage information literacy, encourage the development of the libraries and the information sector overall. So it all starts at home with the parents and also at the policy level.
So it starts with the book.
It starts with the books. Okay. Even to make policies, people need books.
And where do you get that?
In the library.
Yes. Sorry to cut you short, but that's all the time we have now. Thank you, Shabana and Mahasin, for joining us tonight, and we wish MLA all the best in its future endeavors.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Welcome. This is me, Session Namit, signing off, hoping to return next week to discuss yet another issue of national and social importance. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant evening.